Hello, class. This is Mr. Eggleston, and this is Check Your Understanding for Lesson 6.4, Solving Absolute Value Functions. So on the first Check Your Understanding, question number 1, A, B, and C, part A is just to graph the absolute value of x minus 1 minus 3. Excuse me. So now remember, the number holding hands with the x, that is the number right here. The x minus 1 means the absolute value graph shifts right 1 unit because it's holding hands with the x. So it's right 1 unit. And this minus 3 on the outside says we shift down, because it's negative, down 3 units. Remember, your x's are liars. So shift right 1 unit and down 1, 2, 3. So this is our vertex. Remember, that's the key thing to find. Now the slope in front, the number in front of this absolute value is 1. So that means we go up 1 to the right 1. I'll just go to the right first. Up 1 to the right 1. Up 1 to the right 1. Up 1 to the right 1. It's a line that goes with a slope of 1 to the right. And there's that part. Now remember, absolute value means we also go up 1 and to the left 1, because now we're going to have a line with a negative 1 slope. And we have these dots that form the left side of the absolute value. And we have that. There's our absolute value of x minus 1 minus 3. Now, how many solutions are there to the equation 1 equals the absolute value of x minus 3? Well, for the 1, I'm going to graph the 1 as y equals 1. Okay? So graphing y equals 1, which is right here, you see it says, how many solutions are there to the equation? There are two solutions. And you can even say what the solutions are. Okay, how do you know? Okay, let me say this. There are two solutions, x equals negative 3 and x equals 5. How do we know? Because that is where the graphs cross. Where the graphs cross. Notice I don't care about the y value. I just write down the x value because the equation only involves x. So there are two solutions, and we can see they're at negative 3 and at 5, and we can check it. The check would be, does 1 equal, this is my check, I'm going to plug negative 3 in. Does 1 equal negative 3 minus 1 absolute value minus 3? Negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4 absolute value. And that's 4 minus 3. And yes, indeed, that does equal 1. Okay? And so the solution x equals negative 3 works. Check the other one. Okay? You're going to find out when we talk about nonlinear equations, you're always going to want to check your answers. Make sure you did it right. Especially when you get into quadratics and stuff where it gets a little bit crazier. And then let's check x equals 5. So does 1 equal the absolute value of 5 minus 1 minus 3? Well, 5 minus 1 is 4. Absolute value of 4 is 4. 4 minus 3 does indeed equal 1. X equals 5 is a solution. It checks. All right? Now, how many solutions are there to the equation negative 3 equals the absolute value of x minus 1 minus 3? How do you know? Okay, it's the question. How do you know? All right. Well, if we look at the graph, negative 3, and this is going to be graphed using, I don't know, the light green. I already used it. White. So I'm going to graph y equals negative 3. It's going to be the white graph. That is down here. Notice the graphs intersect at the vertex. there is one solution. And when it's one solution, it's at the vertex. Okay? And that is, how do we know? Because the y value of the vertex, can you read that? Y value of the vertex equals, according to our equation, -3. And that is what the y value is set to when we solve. So that's basically how we solve graphically. All right? Now it says solve each equation and check your answers. Well, you have one that's 5x plus 7, absolute value equals 13, and 5x plus 7, absolute value equals, okay, yeah. So what we do is, remember, when we're dealing with absolute values, we can write 5x plus 7 can equal 13, or 5x plus 7 can equal -13, because remember, we're taking the absolute value, so if we took the absolute value of this, we would end up with 13, so that's a solution. Okay? So, and I gotta get rid of this. So we take the absolute value and we write it as two different equations. Solving each, subtracting 7, you get 5x equals 6. Dividing by 5, x equals 6/5. Here we subtract 7, we got 5x equals -20, because we subtracted 7. And then dividing by 5, we get x equals -20 divided by 5, which is -4. So these are our two solutions. I wish that would have been 6/7 instead of 6/5. All right. So I guess I could have made this 7 here, and then it would have been 6/7. But anyway, so we got two solutions. You can check it. You can plug 6/5 in. 5 times 6/5 is 6. 6 plus 7 is 13. Absolute value is 13. The other solution was -4. So 5 times -4 is -20, plus 7 is -13. Absolute value is 13. So you see 6/5 and -4 are both solutions. I'm trying to demonstrate that you don't have to write your check down, but you should always check your work, especially when we're getting to the nonlinear stuff. All right, look at B. Before we can jump to writing two solutions or two equations, we have to denude the absolute value. We got to get this absolute value by itself. So we're going to have to move this -11. We're going to have to undo that to get rid of it, and we're going to have to undo multiplying by 7. So we're going to first drop opposites. We're going to add 11 to both sides. Okay. Then we get 7 absolute value of x plus 1 equals 14. Now to get rid of the 7 multiplying the absolute value, we're going to divide by 7. And now you're going to get absolute value of x plus 1 equals 2. Now we can write two equations. We can say, sorry, that's plus. We can say, oh, wow. X plus 11, sorry, I'm getting confused. Okay, x plus 1, oh, I'm sorry, I know what I'm doing. We get x plus 1 equals absolute value of x plus 1 equals 2, which means x plus 1 equals 2. And x plus 1 can equal negative 2. Subtract 1, x equals 1. Subtract 1, a little bit tougher for some students, use a calculator if you need to, is going to be negative 3. Okay? Now, and that's how you solve it. We could check it, plug 1 in, 1 plus, we can go 1 plus 1 is 2. Absolute value is 2 times 7 is 14. Minus 11 is 3. 7, 1 works, okay? We could try negative 3. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Absolute value is 2 times 7 is going to be 14 minus 11 is 3. Both those numbers work. All right, let's look at C. Absolute value of 4x minus 8 equals 0. Well, since the absolute value is by itself, we can just write our two equations. 4x minus 8 equals negative 0, and 4x minus 8 equals 0. Now, have you ever heard of a negative 0? Me neither. 0 can't be negative. 0 has no sign. It's just 0. So really you just have to write 4x minus 8 equals 0. How do we solve it? We add 8. We get 4x equals 8. Divide by 4, we get x equals 2. We could check it. Plug 2 in. 4 times 2 is 8. Minus 8 is 0. Absolute value of 0 is still 0. So it works. So when the absolute value is equal to 0, it's easy. Just set the inside of the absolute value equal to 0 and solve. All right, that works even if we're talking about nonlinear insides, which you won't see in this class, but if you make it into higher level math, you'll see there. All right, we have this. Last question. We have the absolute value of x minus 18 equals a negative 5. Now, if you understand what's going on, you're going to find out. You can write the answer right away. But if you forgot about the properties of absolute values, the fact that the absolute value of a number can never be negative, you will probably write this as two equations. X minus 18 equals 5, and x minus 18 equals a negative 5. And if you add 18, you get x equals 23. Add 18, you get x equals 13. All right, and 23 and 13 are our two solutions. You could even check them, and this is where you're going to find out that you're wrong if you did this, because this is not correct. So if you plug 23 in, 23 minus 18, does that equal negative 5? Well, 23 minus 18 is 5. Does the absolute value of 5 equal negative 5? No, right? Absolute value of 5 equals 5. Likewise, if x is 13, we can say, does 13 minus 18, absolute value, equal negative 5? Well, 13 minus 18 is negative 5, and you might say, aha, it does. But remember, it's the absolute value of negative 5. And the absolute value of negative 5 is not negative 5, it's positive 5. So basically, if you had remembered that when you take an absolute value, it cannot equal a negative, right? That can't work. It's no solution. You can just write no solution right off the bat. Okay, but I showed it to you, and I showed you why. So that's it. Have a good day.